Hi, my name is Steven. Welcome back to another episode of the Florida Sports Podcast. Today is a special episode. Today we're going to be specifically discussing the Orlando Magic and a couple of the recent news in the NBA, specifically regarding Kyrie Irving and what he could do to the Orlando Magic if we were somehow able to make a deal, which it does not necessarily look like it's going to happen. Today is July the 22nd. This will probably be up on the 23rd. If we're all in all honesty. But so before we get into the Kyrie Irving news, first things first, the Orlando Magic, in rumors today, they met with Maurice Speights, former LA Clippers center, and he also played for the Golden State Warriors in one of their championship seasons, I believe. Yes. So he's a stretch big. He shot, let me see the number here, 37.2% from beyond the arc last year for the Los Angeles Clippers, and then 38.7 the year before. So he can stretch the floor as a 5. He's 6'10", he can grab boards, and he's got decent post moves. He had 53.9% field goal percentage last season for the Clippers, which shows that he doesn't take dumb shots. He's a veteran. He brings that kind of presence to a locker room. And that's what he attempted to bring to the Clippers last year, is a winning mentality he brought from the Warriors. And it obviously didn't happen. Chris Paul left. The team imploded. So he averaged 8.7 points per game. So, but being not the third option, fourth option, he was pretty low on the options for scoring on that team. He wasn't called upon to do that. Excuse me, that's an email. What could this mean for a Magic team that hasn't had a stretch big really since ever? Maybe Hito Turkoglu, if you count him as that big of a big. He more played on the arc all the time, but most Speights can play down in the trenches with the big boys. But you look at this, and if we sign Mo Speights, that brings a presence on the floor, that brings a stretch presence, allows for players to get more space and more opportunities around the mid-range and around the arc for guys who mainly have been they don't give a lot of space, but if you know that you have another player like Mo Speights who can actually pull the three, they'll be playing farther up on him, which gives space in the middle of the court, middle of the field, of the paint for people like Aaron Gordon to do what he does best and finish at the rim, or Nikola Vucevic, who's been working on his three-point shot too, but he's a great post player, very underrated post player. He can also shoot mid-range shots pretty well. He's a great rebounder. Players like Elfrid Payton, who can't shoot anywhere outside the paint, if we're honest. Him moving inside because of the stretch presence by Mo Speights could be good. So Mo Speights would be a welcome addition for the right price, maybe the veterans minimum or something around that number for a Magic team. That's cap space is around $3 million right now for this season, and it'll get bigger as the new CBA and the next offseason comes and we get rid of more players. So, excuse me. On to the next topic here. We're looking at Kyrie Irving. Recently been in the news. It was leaked that he wants a trade from the Cleveland Cavaliers. He sees them as perhaps a team that will not win a finals in the near future, and he's looking to win now. That is his mentality. And you hear win now and you think Magic, and you're like, nah, the Magic don't win now. That's not a thing. But theoliverstwist.com did a great article on Kyrie Irving and the Orlando Magic, and he brings up some great points, and I'm using it mainly for the trade, the trade simulator he used on ESPN Trade Machine for NBA, because he has some great trades perhaps that could possibly work for the Magic to get Kyrie Irving. So the first trade that we see here is Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love to the Magic, and then the Magic send to the Cavaliers Evan Fournier, Nikola Vucevic, and Aaron Gordon. And you see those names. Those three names are basically our core. Those are the guys. So you're wondering if this is worth it, but it's more than worth it. You have Kevin Love, a perennial all-star. He's been there multiple times, great rebounder, can shoot the three, stretch the floor. Kyrie Irving, what else do you have to say about Kyrie Irving? He's shooting the three, he's got the best crossover in the game right now. He can finish. shoot mid-range. His defense is but I mean, I think he more than makes up for it. He's clutch, stuff like that. These are the reasons why we want him. Kyrie Irving, on his short list of teams he wanted to go to, did not include the Orlando Magic. It was Minnesota, New York, Miami, San Antonio. Yeah, I believe that was it. I could be wrong. Let me double check here. Yeah, okay. So it'd be good because we would have a big three of like Jonathan Isaac, Kevin Love, and Kyrie Irving. Our main core would be gone, but we'd have a new core, and we'd be in win now mode in the East that's very weak, and we can very possibly make the playoffs. In the second scenario, you see three teams here: the Orlando Magic, the Cavaliers, and the New York Knicks. So the Orlando Magic would receive Kyrie Irving, Joakim Noah, and Channing Frye. The Cleveland Cavaliers would receive Carmelo Anthony and Elfrid Payton. And then the New York Knicks would receive Evan Fournier, Nikola Vucevic, and Aaron Gordon. All these trades are successful through the trade machine. So you look at this, and the Magic get to replace Elfrid Payton with Kyrie Irving. So you replace a guard who can't shoot with a guard who can, but you also lose a guard that can play very great defense for a guard that plays mediocre defense. Mediocre obviously meaning like middle of the pack. He can play defense, just not that well. You look at a team like New York, who's been looking for shooting and an inside presence. You get a center like Nikola Vucevic to replace Joakim Noah, who is a walking brick, and Nikola Vucevic is an upgrade from Joakim Noah, and so he would complement Kristaps Porzingis very well. Aaron Gordon coming off the bench at power forward, because you're not going to start over Kristaps Porzingis. He'd play well in that bench role. And then Evan Fournier to go along with Frank Ntilikina on the front court would look good. And then obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers, you replace Kyrie Irving with Elfrid Payton. You might get Derrick Rose, so Elfrid Payton would get minutes off the bench. He'd play well in a bench role there, I think. And that team is stacked with shooters, so he would not have to shoot. He would not be called upon to shoot. He'd be called upon to get those players the ball, and that's what he does best, is getting players the ball. He's a great playmaker. And then Carmelo Anthony, you don't have to say anything really about Carmelo Anthony. He needs no introduction. Got a knockdown shooter. He can be motivated to win if he's in a situation where he can win. If he's in Cleveland, he can win. Carmelo Anthony, you put him at the 3, LeBron at the 4, you have a killer 1-2 punch right there. And Elfrid Payton can dish to them, and then even LeBron can dish to them. It's a great trade. And you know, people are asking like, Kyrie, why would you want to leave that situation? You basically got a one-way ticket to the NBA Finals in the East. That's so weak. It's the weakest it's been in decades. He wasn't happy being the number 2. He wants to be the number 1, and nowhere can you can get a better chance to be a number 1 than the Orlando Magic, who have been looking for that all-star player to come to the team for ever since Dwight Howard left. You haven't had an MVP type player. Kyrie Irving obviously never won MVP, but he is at that level of players that can reach an MVP level. And you see this whole scenario about like, oh, the Magic can't get him, but because Kyrie Irving doesn't want to go to the Magic, but Kyrie Irving doesn't have a no-trade clause, so he can't control where he goes. With that no-trade clause, if he would have one, and he was, and the Cavaliers would say, well, we want to trade you to Minnesota, he could say, well, no, I don't want to go to Minnesota. I'm not going to waive my no-trade clause. But since he doesn't have one, he doesn't have a choice. So that's the only issue. You look at this, if he gets traded to the Orlando Magic, which is a rare possibility, it probably won't happen, but it would be very good if it did. The issue with that would be, is Kyrie Irving going to re-sign with the Magic? The Magic would have to somehow convince him with a winning team by making the playoffs and almost the finals. You're expecting a Magic team to make the finals after not even making the playoffs for the past 3 years, 4 years. I'm not even sure how long it's been. It's been so long. So you're expecting a team like that to go to the Eastern Conference Finals or even the finals because Kyrie Irving's looking to win now. And if you don't do that, you're not going to convince him to resign. So you would have to make that. It's a big jump. I'm not saying they can't do it, because having Kyrie Irving as a number one option it's a good shot to take. He's a great player. But you're looking at an impossible jump for a team that hasn't won over 40 games, like over 49 games since Dwight Howard played for the team. So, or hasn't been to the playoffs even since the year after Dwight Howard left. They went to the playoffs and won. It was a big deal. Oh, Dwight who? But that's just a big jump to make. So they have lineups here on this website, the Oliver's Twist. Great website, www.theoliverstwist.com, and you'll see this article on the front page for July 22nd. So for trade scenario 1, where we send Aaron Gordon, Evan Fournier, and Nikola Vucevic to the Cavs for Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, our starting lineup would look like Elfrid Payton, Kyrie Irving, Jonathan Simmons, Kevin Love, and Bismack Biyombo. And that's not a bad starting five, honestly. In my opinion, I would start Kyrie at the 1 and then put Terrence Ross in at the 2. But you have Elfrid Payton coming off the bench, who played well in bench minute roles last season. He played pretty well in that role while he played 6-man, and then he earned a spot back up on the starting roster. And the thing with Elfrid Payton is he can't shoot, and I've said that before, but if he would learn how to shoot, he would get out of that purgatory that is between a good role player like 6-man to a good starting point guard. He's a good role player, like he can score, he can be really productive off the bench, but he can be like mediocre and score, like averaging decent numbers, okay numbers on the starting role. And if he were to learn how to shoot, he could average great numbers on the starting role, but right now he's only averaging like average numbers on the starting role. But if you start Kyrie Irving at the 1, Terrence Ross at the 2, Jonathan Simmons at the 3, Kevin Love at the 4, and Bismack at the 5, you really have a good starting 5. And the backups, the bench would be pretty weak. Elfrid Payton at the 1. You'd have Elfrid Payton at the 1, Mario Hezonja at the 2, Wesley Iwundu at the 3, Jonathan Isaac at the 4, and then Kem Birch at the 5. I don't know how well that's gonna play out for bench players, because a lot of good teams have good benches nowadays. Obviously, the Rockets' best bench in the league. Wizards are deep. Hawks are deep. Even though, I mean, people don't think the Hawks have a lot of talent, the Hawks are pretty deep. They're great coaching staff there. The teams you have to compete with all season are going to have better lineups than that backup lineup. And that's true with the entire Magic, no matter the trade scenario. So, second trade scenario, where the Magic receive Kyrie Irving and Joakim Noah and Channing Frye. It's funny, Channing Frye, we traded him away, I'm pretty sure, a couple of seasons ago. We traded him to Cleveland. So, lineup for trade scenario 2. You're looking at Kyrie Irving at the 1, Terrence Ross at the 2, which is what I was talking about, and then Jonathan Simmons at the 3. Jonathan Simmons at the 3, Jonathan Isaac at the 4, and Joakim Noah at the 5. I'm not a big Joakim Noah fan. I really hope we don't get him if this trade scenario was real. He's not that good. I'm a big Florida Gator fan, and he played for Florida, but he's not that good. He's a okay defender ever since his Defensive Player of the Year season. He's been an okay defender. Excuse me. And then backup roles, we're looking at Shelvin Mack, Mario Hezonja, Wesley Iwundu, Channing Frye, and then Bismack Biyombo. So, and then DJ Augustin, who I don't even know why we have him on the team. So that's an okay bench. It's not as good as the bench that you have in the first trade scenario. You have an okay point guard and Shelvin Mack, an okay shooting guard, a mediocre small forward, a veteran power forward, and a mediocre center. While in the first trade scenario, you have an okay point guard, a pretty good shooting guard in Terrence Ross, a mediocre small forward in Wesley Iwundu, a budding power forward in Jonathan Isaac. He'll be pretty good. He's just got to grow into his body. And Kem Birch, who honestly I have no idea who this guy is. He's brand new to the team, so at least I'm pretty sure he is. Kem Birch, Canadian basketball player. Yeah, he's in the EuroLeague. I don't know if we'll have him on the team next year. So, just looking at these trade scenarios, and it's a dream to get Kyrie Irving, and you definitely want him on your team, but would you really want, it'd be like a 2-year rental. You trade away your core for that, and then it'd set us back decades for a rebuild that we could possibly be in the playoffs this season without Kyrie Irving. That's how confident I am that this young core could take this Magic team in a weak East to at least the 8th seed, if not like the 6th or the 7th. So that's how I feel about this. People going crazy over on subreddit Orlando Magic saying that we need Kyrie Irving. There's a big thread saying don't get Kyrie Irving, and I agree with that thread. It would obviously, okay, on paper, it looks good. Like, okay, we don't have a point guard that can shoot. Here's a point guard that can shoot. We don't have a point guard that can, like, pass that well. Even though Elfrid Payton's pretty good at passing, Kyrie Irving's really good at passing. Like, we don't have an all-star level point guard, and that's what we're missing. Here's an all-star level point guard. But you're looking at trading away so many assets. We'll probably have to even throw in a first-round pick. And you're still looking at like throwing away the future of this team for maybe 2 or 3 good seasons. And I get it. Like, people want the Magic to make the playoffs now, and I do too, but I think we're better off just not trading for Kyrie Irving. That's all I wanted to say on that matter. This has been a shorter episode, I think, but we'll get back to full Florida sports news. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that topic. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on SoundCloud, and stay tuned for more episodes of the Florida Sports Podcast. Thank you.